my name is Specialist Jeff Hanks. I'm returning to Fort Campbell today. I left on October 15th. That's the day that I was supposed to get on a plane back to Afghanistan to finish out my tour. I originally came on leave in September of this year. I've been to Iraq in 2008, and then I deployed to Afghanistan this year. And I came on leave, and I've been dealing with some issues, a lot of issues from Iraq. I kept it to myself. I tried to deal with it the best way I could. I did not approach the military for help back after Iraq because there's a stigma that's placed on you in the military. They may not want to admit it, but it is. Whether you're an outcast or you're just ridiculed in front of other people, which nobody wants to set themselves up for that. So I tried to deal with it the best way I could. It really had an effect on my daughters. I have two little girls, 5 and 3, and some of the stuff I saw in Iraq really brought it home to me, how brutal war can be. I'll give you a specific. There was a car bomb that went off near my base in Balad, Iraq. 7 to 10, I can't remember the exact number of Iraqi civilians were hurt. We had a mass casualty. When there's a mass casualty, everybody on base reacts. You're supposed to help. So I went to help like everybody else did. They brought in this little girl. She was the same age as my oldest daughter. And she is, it's been 2 years and I can't even talk about it. She was really badly hurt. And that has stuck with me ever since. I've had nightmares about this, depression, but I didn't want to seem weak. And, I was new to the unit. I didn't want to be like, well, I can't handle myself. So I'm going to try to, I didn't feel it was the easy way out, but I wanted to get help, but I just didn't see that it would be well, taken by my unit. So I declined to even try. I dealt with it when I got home. It caused me and my wife to separate. I didn't want to be around her. Felt very overwhelmed by her and my kids. So I kept dealing with that. I didn't seek help. I didn't care, about how my wife, that affected her. I didn't care how my kids were affected at the time, which was terrible. I'm not that kind of man, but I turned into that. I deployed to Afghanistan and May 3rd this year. I was still having some of the issues, but I'm a very private person, so, I kept it to myself and trying to deal with it. My family had told me many times to get help. I heard them, but I didn't do anything. I deployed to Afghanistan, and then I came back on R&R leave in September. I was involved in a mortar blast in August, where I suffered concussion. Still dealing with headaches from that. So I came home. They were concerned about that, my family was, and came home and, they noticed that the changes in me had gotten worse. And my daughters now, who are, 5 and 3, my 5-year-old pulled me aside, and she goes, you're not as nice as you used to be. And that hurts. So that opened my eyes that I needed help. And I had determined that I was going to get it after Afghanistan. I went to catch my flight at Raleigh-Durham Airport in North Carolina to fly back to Afghanistan. I had a panic attack at the airport. I was at a restaurant with my wife at the airport, and a man behind me, it sounded like plates to me, but my wife said he clapped really loud. And I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. And I freaked out, and I had to leave. So I contacted the chaplain here at Fort Campbell. I went to Fort Bragg's ER because that was the closest base. They said they diagnosed me with a panic attack for that day, but they said they couldn't treat me further. I came here, kept in contact with my unit. I came here to get treatment. I went to the ER. It was October 13th, Wednesday, with a military escort. I saw an ER doctor gave me Flexeril for my headaches. And I saw a social worker that, listened to everything I had to say from Iraq to present. She made an appointment for me for behavioral health Thursday, October 14th at 8:30 in the morning with a military escort. I went to that. The social worker there saw me. She took all the notes, just like the lady before her. She said at the end of it that since I'm a member of 1st Brigade and she's a member attached to 2nd Brigade, that she really couldn't help me, so she made an appointment for Monday morning, October 18th at 8:30 in the morning. I never got to go to that appointment because on that Thursday, after I had that appointment made for me on Monday, my military escort was like, okay, go and find an apartment for you and your wife. You're dismissed. So I left, and they called me back 20 minutes later, and they said, you need to come back to staff duty. So I came back to staff duty, and they said, you need to get cleared today. I said, well, I had stated this before, I have no problem going back to Afghanistan, no problem at all. That's my duty, I understand that. But I need treatment as well. I'm not on my A game. And I told them that. They said, well, you need to get cleared medically today because you're flying to Afghanistan tomorrow. And I said, okay, I don't understand, why they were interfering, but, being a good soldier, I said, Roger, and they said, you need to go back to behavioral health and, get cleared. Now, I went to behavioral health, which is a 5-minute drive from where my staff duty is, and by the time I got there, my unit had already called them. Because as soon as I went in there, they were like, oh, hey, specialist, thanks. Yeah, your command just called. Listen, our hands are tied. There's nothing we can do for you. You're not suicidal because, I was honest. I'm not walking in there with a gun in my mouth. I'm not. But, I don't think that, you should have to go to that length to get help. But they said, well, there's nothing we do. Command gets what they want. So I talked over with my wife. I felt pressed into a corner. I knew I needed help. And I knew I couldn't get that help in Afghanistan. I know the resources are very limited. So what I did was I made the choice to leave, and I left. I didn't get on that plane the next day. And I linked up. I found out about Operation Recovery. They help vets, and they've helped me. I've seen 3 therapists that have diagnosed me. All I wanted was to be treated, and they have diagnosed me. And so my plan has always been is to come back here. Never to stay away. I wanted to come back here with this, and hopefully this time they'll listen to me and want to treat me. I hope so. That's what I'm hoping for is the best. But I'm ready to accept anything. But I know going AWOL is, it's not something I wanted to do, and it's sad that I had to resort to that. But I did what I thought was right, and I don't care what happens. I still will always think that I did the right thing. Some people won't. That's their opinion. But I know what I need as far as my health care, and I needed to get seen, and now I have. So hopefully they'll do what's right. I think it's important for people to understand, that there are vets out there that, I know on Veterans Day we're supposed to honor the dead and wounded and vets all around. That's great. I'm totally for that. But you also need to remember the vets that are wounded that you can't see, and the treatment that I got was ridiculous. And I think that's widespread, and I think people need to know that. The Army wonders why there's so many suicides in the Army. Well, I think there's a reason for that. If people keep hitting the same roadblocks I'm hitting, no wonder that's happening.